from. It was called Good Night Jacob. And we also like to bring elements from like our own childhood. We've done tributes to our grandmother, who was like a big influence in our life in growing up. So we've done westerns, included our grandmother and her sister, Jessie and Bessie, who were also twins back in the day. It was just sort of a tribute to her. So we like to weave in our own personal narratives as well as real life sort of stories into the fantastical.
I think when I have Watched It and Walton 3000, and they're two very different comics, but both of them, my goal was for Black and Latino women to be seen. So with Watched It, it was about like black hair care, natural hair, and Walton 3000, which is a sci-fi twerking tale.
I did not know that it's a sci-fi twerking tale.
I went through my own experience trying to twerk through songs, and I was not fit enough, and I was struggling halfway through. And I know so many other people go through that, so I wanted to do a fun comic about that as well. And I think it's important for us, especially as Black and brown creators, to create stories that are important, but also like really fun too, which I think is important as well. I don't think I feel like a lot of the times the ones that get the most attention are about race or racism, and I don't think we need to feel like that's the avenue we have to go in order for it to be impactful to somebody. I mean, I really hope somebody reads Walton 3000. It's like, yes, I feel this.
And I would say trust your voice, and the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And then sometimes you create a comic and you get it out there and you do it, and a couple of years later you look back and you're like, oh, I can work on doing this, or I can tweak this in my style. So just like doing it and getting it out there is just the first step. And don't worry about like how it'll be received or perceived, or if you're hitting all the marks. It's just like the more you do it, the better you become. So just do it.
Thank you. What's your question over here?
Hi, my name is Christelle, and I am an artist and a writer myself, but I get really nervous when it comes to sharing my work, not because of criticism, but because I put my whole soul into this. And my question would be, what was your first step to just actually putting yourself out there without fear? And did you have any blockages, and how did you get over those blockages?
I would say, with our Kickstarter, we were terrified. It took like 2 years to even just to ask for, this is the thing, asking for money. I hate to ask anybody for anything, first off. Both of us do. We're super independent. I'm gonna do it. We've been paying for everything, doing everything like forever, But it was shaking fingers, shaking, wobbling knees, like for like 2 months straight. We started, Kickstarter. We did a video. We were like, it took us a year before we even released the video. Part of it was timing, and then we would be like, who's gonna give to the campaign? Like, what if it's only your mom? Right, and our mom gives like $50, and then that's it, you know what I mean? So it's like, you have to, I think it's just living in general. I feel like once you go push beyond fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like fear, and it's just beyond, this is beyond comics. It's like, when you get fearful, you just gotta push yourself. Okay, so what? I'm gonna fall on my face and make a fool out of myself. You know what I mean? That's just the worst thing. What are we gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, even if we didn't make our goal, it's like we tried. You know what I mean? And just by just taking that one leap has gotten us here. It's gotten so much to happen. And if we would have just stayed fearful, shaking, and just, looking at the video and critiquing, how shiny our foreheads were, which they are now, I'm sure, but it's just like, no, you just gotta get beyond it. Just continue in every aspect of life to push.
It's like if you're not pushing through fear, you're not growing. Like every time you leap,
You know what I mean? Leap in the net will appear, they say. You know, and even if it's like, even if you do fail, it's like there's something you can learn from that. You can learn next time. And I just say you just get out of your own way. If you're failing, you're doing something. You know what I mean? At least you're moving forward. So fear is like, it's crippling. It stops people from doing a lot of stuff. You're worried, what will they say? What will they think? Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Just do it. And just, push the fear aside.
I'm still scared though.
No way. And that goes away. But the other thing is, the truth is, you're always scared.
Yeah, that's the truth.
The other thing, people are just like, oh, people make it look easy. But it's just like, we're just doing it. Shoot, we're just.
So maybe it's less of learning how to not be scared and learning how to work through that fear. Because it sounds like the fear is always a program running in the background.
I'll also say too, are you from New York?
Yes.
I'm also from New York. And I get scared all the time, and then as a New Yorker, I think you just go from scared to mad. You reach your critical mass, and you're like, you know what? I'm done. And I think that's just a thing we do, learning how to harness that as well. You're like, you know what? Fudge it. I'm gonna do it, you know what I mean? I'm gonna spite. I use spite. That's my secret. That's my Hulk secret. I'm always spiteful. I'm always spiteful. How many people told you couldn't do it? All right, well, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm afraid, but now, do you have this? No? All right, cool. I'm gonna keep doing it.
And also, don't forget, there's always an audience for something. There's a comic out right now that I believe it's on its 3rd volume, and it's called Snot Girl. I'm not lying. And she's a superhero. And you can just imagine what her superpower is.
Her superpower
And it's on volume 3. So somebody may and you have to not think about the people that are right here. The internet is huge. There could be somebody in England or Australia or some other part of the planet that loves what you do.
And the people, when people are mean to you, in person, you hurt, but then you're also like, all right, well, you're not my friend anyway. Are you paying my rent pay? No.
Also remember,
I'm very gentle inside. I'm very soft.
You're not alone. That's number one. You're in a room full of creators, and there's creators outside of this room, of course, that are here at the show. And we all have a degree of fear. But it's just like the Gift Sister said, you have to push through. If you want people to see your work, if you want it to see the light of day, you do have to push through it. It gets easier, I promise you that. It gets easier as you put yourself out there more, but it's definitely a necessity if you want to get into this industry, or any industry for that matter.
I would say too, it's really important to have friends and family that you can go to hype you up when you're feeling really down. There they go, hype you up.
And if you don't have those friends and family close to you, you may find them online.
Yes, yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that go through this that don't have people around them that support them. And to step out on that, you might find friends in, other writing groups and things like that. You go and
Find your tribe.
Yes, find your tribe.
I want to add to that too, that we do have our own writers groups, we've been in many in LA, but when we started doing the work, this is one thing I'm going to say, doing the work and then putting it out there, we started self-publishing. And at the end of last year, we got our first book deal. You know what I mean? It was with a major publisher, Houghton Mifflin, Versify, and we're working on our young adult graphic novel. And that's just by doing the work and just staying focused on the goal. And then the other thing is, once we left and we actually pressed go on the Kickstarter, there was a community that showed up, you know what I mean? The Blur community just was like, yeah. And a Black Girl Nurse, Nurse of Prey, Regine, bunch of other people just were like, yes, we're here for it. And that just, kept going and created a lot of different opportunities for us. So I'm gonna say, we've been at it for years before that. So just keep doing the work. Don't worry about it. You'll get better and better and better and better, and community will pop up around you, and lots of
gotta take the first steps.
Thank you for your question.
Before I go, if you guys can come to my exhibition next week, I like to.
That's okay, well, shoot your shot.
I'm going to be doing spoken word, and I have a couple of my art pieces, my abstract art pieces. I would love for you guys. All of you guys can come. It's free. It's on 92nd Street in Amsterdam. 92nd Street in Amsterdam.
What's your name, sweetheart? What's your name?
My name is Cristal J. Tejeda, and I am an artist, and I want to be like you guys.
You have a question over here? Thank you for being patient. What's your question?
Okay. Where do you sell your product?
Good question.
No, you know what? Look, these guys' novels cost $35. Where do you sell the product?
No, does anybody up here have $35 comics? Nobody up here sells anything for $35.
Hey, they don't go through Forbidden Planet or any of the stores here in the city. But you can't go out and buy any of these graphic novels. I mean, when I was buying comic books, 50 cents.
Yeah, they were cheaper. Yeah,
But now I go to Forbidden Planet, I can't afford to buy any of that.
absolutely. Well, some of the comics, there's also different size of comics. There's issues that are the smaller, like 17 page, 22 page comics. Those are always going to be less than $5. If they're not, somebody's ripping you off. There's TPBs, which are larger, and those usually
Usually around between
15
$15 and
dollars?
$20.
Yeah, now if
That's
something
cool.
is $35, that sounds like an omnibus. This is like a
Where
huge.
do these kids who don't work? I've worked my whole entire life in America. I don't have money to buy these graphic novels.
Well, don't maybe
Yeah, libraries will get them.
Libraries.
In
Yes.
New York City, they're all stolen.
If you request them at your library though, they have to get them back in, and that is something actually I wanted to say, and that is a really good point. Libraries for trade paperbacks, that's the collections, if you ask for them, they will get them in, and that helps us as well.
And if they're taken, they will get another one.
Yeah, they'll get new copies. And also, I know I
That
donate.
is not a comic book.
Oh, it's just the collection of the singles, so it'll be like 4 or 5 comic books
That
together.
have been bound together in one larger comic.
So yeah, you can definitely get them to a library. I know I donate to schools. I sometimes get free, like my comp copies. I'll give them to schools. I'll give them to Regine to give to her students and stuff.
But to answer your question, I believe everybody's comics are available online.
Yes.
Ma'am, to answer your question.
We have a copy of E.J. Whitaker here for you.
That's right.
He did it for free. Yeah.
Thank you for your question. You gotta give her a comic over there.
It's right here.
What's your question, ma'am?
Hi,
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Robin Smith.
She's an amazing artist. She illustrated Wash Day. Okay,
Thanks for me.
continue.
Well, I mean, I'm the illustrator, but I'm not the writer.
Okay, we're not playing this game.
I mean, my question is really about what's your process for editing dialogue? Because I feel like whenever I write in comics, I stay away from fiction because in my head I'm like, oh, here are all these sentences and all these things I would like them to communicate with each other, but then it's impossible to pare it down to regular conversation. So
Trust the artist.
how do you do that?
Trust the artist. The art will tell. I start out with a bunch of dialogue on the page, and by the time that it's ready to go to print, it is a sixth of what was on the page because the artist knows how to convey that visually in a way that I could never even begin to know.
And also, aren't you limited when you do scripts for comics? Like, I believe the script itself, you limit yourself for how many bubbles you're giving yourself. Am I wrong?
Some people do.
You try.
Well, I'll say this. When I first started writing comics, because I came from writing prose, I was writing a whole bunch of crap on the page. Just everything, the kitchen sink, whatever. But I learned how to pare it down. And with my scripts, I do give a certain amount of instructions. So I will say like, well, someone's frustrated. Someone's brow is furrowed. And so if they're saying stop that, and they're not saying, you like stop that, like they don't want people to look on their face, like I want them to be angry. So that's why I sort of pared down the dialogue. I just tried to put in instruction for more facial expressions and the way their bodies are situated on the page. So that's how I help myself doing that, and my scripts are so much better for it.
I try to think about how I talk with my friends and how my friends talk. I mean, right now my comics have been something that a lot of my friends could fit in the comics, so it's been a bit easier. But I also really rely heavily on the artist and thinking of like, this is a comic, so I don't need to use words if I don't want to, or if it's not necessary. You know that, Robin, because Wash Day does not have a ton of dialogue. And you beautifully illustrated the nuance of the whole story. And also get a great editor. Get an editor. Like, even if you can't afford like a full editor, fully edit like from the script to the page, at least have them review the script once to give you some feedback, because J.A. Michaeline edited Wash Day and Wobble Feed the script, and it would be a very different comic if she did not edit it.
Does Women in Comics have editors that I don't want to say that you can recommend, but other editors that are involved in Women in Comics?
Oh, absolutely. You have members that are editors, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So if you're looking for an editor, call Risha.
I was going to say our process is a little different because we work remotely back and forth. There are times when I'm watching Janae read the script. I mean, this is like, oh my god. Or like she'll be watching me and we're editing each other's, as I write. Sometimes she'll go over and read, or as she writes, I'll go over and read things, and you can just see an X go immediately through. I'll be on Google Docs, right? And sometimes she's just like, oh no, or we're having, and then you'll just see an X, or you just, see somebody and they're like, delete. So, I mean, it's a great process, and I think it's just a matter of like the pacing of the story. We'll go back and sort of work things out and just make sure that we give the story room to breathe while also adding dialogue, or if it's an intense dialogue scene, allowing that to happen, but also, like you guys said, relying on the artist to help convey that.
And so sometimes when the pages come back, like when you've given the work to an artist and you got way too much dialogue in the bubble, you look at it and you're like, oh my God, I gotta cut some stuff out. You know what I mean? And sometimes that informs how you can trim your stuff down.
So we're gonna have to take another question, but I hope that helps answer some of it. Thank you, and thank you for the work you've done on Wash Day.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Hi there.
Hi, my name is Zaira Lee Tejeda. I have a question. My question is, sorry.
No, you're fine. But no, it's okay.
How do you know when to sell your comic? It's not what this is. It's not what this says, but I'm just gonna go with it.
It's okay. How do you know when your work comic is done and you're ready to sell it?
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of editing it. When I'm sick of someone else editing it, and then I gotta look at it again. That's when I was like, okay, I can't touch the baby anymore. Like, the baby is done. No matter what it is now, the baby is done. That's how I know I'm sick of it.
Well, my editor says so. Like,
I'm like, when my editor's like, there's no more edits that you need, I'm like, okay.
it never feels done. You always see things and you're always like stressed about it, but there'll be a point when you feel comfortable showing it to someone else if you don't have an official editor yet. And they'll go, this is something that I can connect with, this seems right to me, because you're making it, you'll never feel that. So when someone else can say that to you, that's the right time to be like, okay, I'm gonna share with the world.
Thank you for your question. Well, there's somebody else that has a question. Thank you, sweetheart. What's your question? This is going to be our last one.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much.
Hi.
I wanted to talk to you about collaboration. So there's a WakandaCon in Chicago, which you may know about, which is happening again in July of this year. So I wanted to talk to you about collaboration between different Comic-Cons and women's groups, etc. Although I think you mentioned women's groups. Shout out to this guy over here with the hat and glasses, who kindly let me go. I know we had a question as well. So.
Oh, thank you. So your question is how to collaborate with other conventions or how to collaborate as creators?
With other conventions.
I'll try this one. And you've actually done this before.
Well, I reach out to them, and they reach out to me as I see like different ads for different things. Like I'll go or I'll get invited to different places, like Blair City Comic Con, Bronx Heroes Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, even or New York Comic Con. Like sometimes I'll get people to reach out to me, or I'll reach out to them and say, hey, I have this idea. Let's have this collaborative event. Let's have an art show. Let's have some type of sip and see or something, and I just see what bites. Someone might say no, others might say yes. I'm thankful that everyone says yes. So that's how it works for me.
It depends on what you want to, from my perspective, it depends on what you want to collaborate on. So you can actually have a table at another convention, and many times smaller conventions will let you do that. One of the niches I think that you have is that the women in comics, brands, especially when people are looking for more female creators, they will have you there. I think if you're looking to collaborate with other cons, you might not want to collaborate with other cons and do the exact same thing that you do. That's one way of doing it. And then if you want to collaborate with other cons and do the exact same thing that we do, you might want to try and find, if you said you're in Chicago, right? Or Wakanda Con is in Chicago?
I'm in New York.
You're in New York, okay. So Wakanda Con is in Chicago, this is New York. If there was another, I'm thinking like ECBOC in Philadelphia, if there was another convention or event that, let's say you met with the heads of, all three conventions, and you had not just a convention, but let's say a meet and greet or like you said, an art gallery opening or something that benefits the community or the artists that is not in the city that each of you are all in, that's advertising even for each of your conventions. That's just another idea.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for your question. And thank all of you for coming to the Black Comic Book Festival. And thank you all for coming and sticking around to the very last panel, the best panel. And thank you for that, and Gina, and I'm going to keep calling y'all the Gibbs sisters because I just love it. Thank you all so much. We're going to take some pictures from around.